Hi again then guys, and welcome to a form of tune setup which we haven't actually revisited in a long while. Well over 2.5 years in fact, since the last build like this on the channel, and it's a tune setup type which I get a lot of requests about, and that is drifting. Do I like to drift? Would I consider doing drift tutorials or tune setups? So I thought to myself, why not see if I could get back into it? So the Subaru Time Attack WRX seems as good a place as any to get back into that kind of tuning. So that's what I did. Now you could, if you so choose, try to repurpose this build to another Subaru. For instance, the road car, or the homologated road car, or even the racing versions, or even the rally car, if you wanted to. Now, of course, for the best effects, I'd recommend using an all-wheel drive version. I can't recall if all of them are. In fact, no, the Group 3 version at least isn't. I can't recall if the Group 4 car is or not, but this should work for any of the all-wheel drive versions. But this one in particular is what it's specialised for. Now, as you can see, you don't need to spend any points at all on the weight or the power. All I would recommend is dropping the weight as far as you can without upgrading it, and increase the power as much as you can, again, without necessarily upgrading it. Now, you can if you want to, but you just don't need it, because of course drifting isn't about going as fast as possible necessarily, it's just about that cool sideways action. Now, traction control you definitely want turned off. For tyres, I've gone for sports hards. I know a ton of people have different preferences there. I'd recommend those, but of course, try different things if you want to. Brake balance, I know, is something which, again, people like to change. Personally, I haven't bothered with that. As far as the ride height, we've dropped it to 60mm on the front, 70mm on the back, which is, incidentally, as far as you can go. The car doesn't look back heavy, though. It's pretty even overall. As far as the frequency, we've got that on 3, the anti-roll on 7, the compression on the dampers as low as possible on 51, likewise for the rebound. We've got neutral camber. I tried it with some, again, it's just not necessary. Now, as far as the toe, which I never modify, for drift tunes I do, for fairly obvious reasons. It helps out a lot with initiating a drift, so I would recommend towing out 20 degrees on the front and 25 degrees on the back. Now, as far as the downforce, you want that as low as possible, because it's just not necessary at all, and it scrubs off too much speed, and of course when you're drifting, you want to keep your speed up. As far as the diff, again, this is all down to personal preference, and I would encourage people to try different things, but I'd recommend the highest initial torque, and then halfway all round for acceleration and braking, and for me personally, I like a 30-70 torque split. Again, very much down to personal preference. I would recommend trying, say, 20 or 25-65, whatever the case may be. Now, or 25-75, I should say. That would be a weird split. Now, as far as the gearbox, we've got an auto setting of 149, which of course is in miles per hour, which gives you a pretty close ratio setup. You can still get enough top speed for the straights, but it allows you to get through the gears pretty quickly as well. Now, as you can see, I haven't actually touched any of the individual gears or the final drive either, if I recall correctly, so the gearbox doesn't matter too much to this build. You can change it if you want to, and of course it'll depend as well on the power that you go for. But that's it for the tune. Of course, drifting is a very, very personalised sport, so if you want to try different things or experiment with it, and then if it doesn't work, you can just come back and do this one again. So that's it for the tune. Now, of course, what everyone wants to see is, can it drift? Now, of course, the obvious answer to that question is, yeah, of course it can drift, otherwise it would be kind of a pointless video. But as far as drifting goes with this car, I wanted to start with this vehicle because, first of all, it looks the part, it looks like a drifter already, and of course the right livery can help with that a lot. It's very well balanced, and even from my review I could tell that it was already. Of course, it's set a Time Attack record, so it's got to be a pretty good vehicle, but it's also got certain things which I like when I work with a drift car, such as the proportions. It's not necessarily small, but it's relatively compact at the same time, if that makes sense. It's very predictable in terms of its handling, it's very beginner friendly, super easy to use, and all-wheel drive. I know a lot of people say, oh, you can't really drift with all-wheel drive. Yes, you can. Get over yourself. But overall, if you do decide to use it, it's a ton of fun to drift. It's super easy. For the majority of corners, you can just enter in and allow the car to drift for itself. Don't be afraid to use the handbrake, as we call it in the UK, the e-brake in America. and it's pretty easy to control, so a couple of laps you'll be well away going sideways around all corners. So I hope you enjoy using this tune, and we'll probably put out some more like this in the future, so stick around on the channel for that, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.